Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. XRP follows the price action of Bitcoin, and what is Bitcoin getting ready to do, my friends? It's getting ready to rocket. Right now, it looks like it's just in a consolidation phase, but all the analysts that I follow, that I think are worth their salt anyway, agree that we're still, on the whole, as a market, in bull mode. And so I want to share with you some opinions from a couple chart analysts, as well as some information from Dan Morehead, who is the founder of the oldest cryptocurrency hedge fund in the United States, Pantera Capital. And just the other day, he wrote up the following. Here's the headline. Human nature is pro-cyclical. And so I'm going to show with you data. You need to know this, how humans are behaving, because that is the battle. There's a reason I keep talking about this concept in my videos. And this will be all new data. I haven't talked about this data in the videos, but markets are cyclical purely at its core on a fundamental level due to human psychology. It really is. So fundamentals, they matter a bit, but in a general sense outside of that, the vast majority of participants, it's not going to be all about the fundamentals in terms of what makes them buy and sell. It's going to be about their human emotions and FOMOing in and panic selling. And it's fascinating that you see that not just in the stock market, but certainly in crypto as well. And so what actually has been happening? Well, a big part of what he's talking about here, Dan Morehead, is like how tax cycles actually are impacting on a global level the price action of Bitcoin and thus the entire market. It's truly astonishing, because you would think, especially with the United States here anyway, like most people, they get tax refunds each year, which I think is a bad idea personally. I'd rather either get zero back or owe the government a little bit of money, because if you're getting money back, understand that you're lending your money to the government without getting interest on it. So to me, that's a terrible idea. I would much rather owe the government a little bit of money, or ideally just have it be like net out to zero. I would much prefer that. So you might think, okay, well, people getting their money back, tax cycle here, how is that a bad thing? Well, there's a bit more to it, but as a result, and there's data, I'll share with you the data, but as a result of the tax setup, specifically in the United States, it's globally impacting the price action of the crypto asset class, and Dan Morehead argues that it has been for 11 years now. And so I hadn't seen all of these specifics before, but I found it so fascinating. I thought you'd want to know. And the good news is, and I will tell you this at the outset though, he still believes that the bottom is in. For this portion of the market cycle, meaning that we're going to go rocket on up. It is not over. And this is important too also, because again, I know I said it at the beginning, but I want to be super clear because there's so many new people watching these videos now. XRP absolutely is following Bitcoin. The whole market moves in tandem with Bitcoin, technically, the leader for almost 100% of the time. There have been a couple, 2-3 instances in the 3.5 years that I've been here where XRP actually led a move in the market, but almost 100% of the time, let's be real, it just is Bitcoin. Now, I do want to be clear, too, I don't have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos as a hobby about Ripple and XRP and crypto, and that's all that's going on here, damn it. Now, as I record this, XRP is at 86 cents. Bitcoin's at $38,851. Market cap for the asset class 1.6 trillion, and Bitcoin dominance at 44.92%. And so market mostly in red today, but it doesn't look that bad, all things considered. And like I've been saying on this channel, from what I've gathered from reputable chart analysts, we're just going to be range bound for a bit until this takes off. Although I will say, in watching the last couple of videos from the blockchain backer, he still thinks that structurally, and if you want all the specifics, you just watch his videos. I'm sure many of you already have. But he still firmly believes that the structure of XRP indicates that it's time to go. It's time for this thing to start moving to the upside. And then he was kind of noting recently that it is interesting, though, that we haven't been seeing other altcoins also popping off, leading the charge. So as a result, it looks like at the moment, at least, we're consolidating. But things could fire off at any moment, it seems. Now, here was a tweet from Credible Crypto, chart analyst, now up to, let's see here, 217,000 followers on Twitter. And on April 1st of last year, 2020, he tweeted out the following about Bitcoin. Every move below $6,400 is a distraction to shake you out before $14,000 plus. That's Bitcoin. Now, those prices, knowing what Bitcoin has done, knowing that it rallied up to about $65,000, knowing right now it's over $38,000 as I record this, even 14K sounded pretty good right now if you were in a buying mood, right? And so everything's always relative, and everything seems impossible in terms of the crazy upward price action until it's actually happened. And I get that, and that's how humans feel about things. But I reckon that's why I keep saying, when anybody that thinks like a $10 or $20 or $30 XRP is crazy, I'm like, do you even crypto, bro? Like, because and I'm not making a prediction. I don't know what XRP is going to hit, especially this market cycle. I have some suspicions that I'd be kind of surprised if it didn't hit certain levels, I suppose. But I'm not so bold as to actually make a prediction. But my gosh, anybody thinks that XRP couldn't hit those types of levels, my gosh, like, that's no more crazy. In fact, I'd say it's less crazy than the idea of Bitcoin at $1 saying that that's going to be worth $65,000 one day. Like, seriously, that's just how I look at it. So anyway, a Credible Crypto retweeted that just yesterday, and he wrote the following, and it's in line with what he shared last time. Every move below $40,000 is a distraction to shake you out before $100,000 Bitcoin. And so he does still firmly believe this market cycle, you will see Bitcoin above $100,000. And we'll see if he ends up being right. I know the blockchain backer thinks maybe on the higher end it'd be like $82,000 or something like that. So I don't know who's going to end up being right, but man, I'll be happy with anywhere up in that range, frankly. But the message is clear. People get shaken out consistently. I got a couple charts I want to share with you in this video I'm going to do very shortly, but let me go through this too. Since we are talking about tax purposes, this thread was interesting. So somebody asked Credible Crypto, are you holding Bitcoin at all anymore, or 100% in altcoins? To which he responded, he's 100% in altcoins. And by the way, that's not because he's anti-Bitcoin or anything like that. He does, again, clearly believe Bitcoin's going to go up. He just believes that altcoins are going to substantially outperform Bitcoin for the remainder of the market cycle. So Bitcoin, back when it was $3,800 last year, a little over a year ago, pretty good buy back then. But after it ran up as high as it has, he's no longer interested. And he's not the only one that feels that way. The blockchain backer and many other analysts also feel that way. So it's nothing against Bitcoin. It's just recognizing where it's at in the market cycle. The tremendous gains that you're going to get in Bitcoin this market cycle, according to them, probably already happened. And so not that you can't get from here a 2 or 3-fold increase, but what are you going to get with something like XRP? Or pick your altcoin that hasn't rallied yet. You know, probably substantially more, I would think. And then somebody else jumped in and wrote, will you be rotating to Bitcoin at some point to compound? To which Credible Crypto responded, nope. And then he was asked why. No rotation at all. And Credible Crypto simply wrote, mainly tax purposes. And this is something that I have talked about on my channel, but I don't really see anybody else ever talk about it. Look, if you could be in a country, because I'm in the United States, mind, you could be in a country where the tax implications are about 0%. Okay, and if that's the case, I want to be you. I want to live your life, because that's awesome. But in the United States, you get basically taxed, and this is not tax advice either, mind you, but my understanding is you get taxed at your tax bracket level, or if you've been holding your crypto for at least a year in the United States, then you get taxed at the long-term capital gains tax rate. Long-term the words are long-term capital gains tax rate, which is 20%. So if you hold for at least a year, then you're going to only, I use the word only lose 20%. And so that's why, for me, a big reason that I've never thought it makes sense to risk my position to get in and out. Oh, I hope XRP goes a little bit lower, goes down 5 or 10 cents so that I could snag even more, do that multiple times. But you're doing it, first of all, you could be wrong the way you suspect things are going to go, because all it takes is 1 out of 10 times, and you can be totally wrecked if XRP starts rocketing. So to me, I'm not willing to risk that. But even if you nail that, and you accumulate all that extra XRP, depending on the specifics of your situation, you might not be making out that much better. Because if you don't get to hold for at least a year and then you're forced to sell, not literally forced to sell, but you're in a position where it's like, okay, this is when XRP rallied, it's now worth over $10. If that were to happen, you might feel like, well, what are you going to do? You sell it, you either sell it, then you take the hit on taxes, or what happens? What if it crashes and goes back down to like $3 or $4 or something? What if what if that is its low for the next market cycle? Then then you hold it for a year, and it's just it becomes a mess. And so for me, I play the long game. I don't try and time markets. I'm just going to play the long game. Not enough people do that probably, and I think that's why so many people in crypto have a really bad time. And then there's this from the blockchain backer. The last time Bitcoin shorts were confident in shorting Bitcoin was when they shorted after the C19 sell-off already happened. Large amounts of shorts placed on Bitcoin at $4,000 to $7,000. It then proceeded to grind to $65,000, and now, after the sell-off, they are shorting again. And so he's one of the many analysts out there that thinks now the bottom's already in. So all the people shorting here again, probably going to get wrecked again. Then there was this. Now this is interesting. If most of the time you can just listen to my channel and you're not going to miss anything. But this is one of those moments where if you're in a position where you're not driving or walking your dog or something, it would be helpful to just take a glance at your screen. The blockchain backer has a chart here, which I'll make full screen in just a moment. But first, let me read what he wrote. Actually, let me describe part of it first, even before I read it. I take that back. This is a chart showing the last year, and I will blow it up in a moment. The red periods are downward price action, and the green periods show upward price action. And so here's what the blockchain backer wrote, because I think most people, especially if they're new to crypto, they don't know what to expect, and it's not all green all the time. In fact, most of the time it's not. That's what the data shows. So check this out. As a reminder, reduced volatility and boring price action is what you get 85% plus of the time in crypto. Red periods far exceed green periods. To enjoy the exciting moments, this is the stuff we've always had to endure. And so I'll make this full screen now. So there you can see, here's a chart for the last year. The red period's down, the green period's up. So you can see it's mostly downward price action. So then you could ask, well, how is it that crypto goes up if most of the days it's down? Well, it's because on the few days that it's up, it's way up. So then if it goes up parabolically and then starts to kind of tank from there, it can only go down so far. So the trend is obviously certainly still upwards, but if you're living in a world, and you are, where most of the time crypto is down or sideways, it's easy to see, understanding that this is all based on human psychology anyway, it's easy to see how so many people, especially if they don't have this data and don't know what's going on, they just get shaken out of the market because it doesn't feel good going sideways or down in terms of price action when you're investing your money. But the data just speaks the truth. It's true of the stock market, it's true of crypto. Over the long haul, it trends up. It just does. And so, yes, you can bet on incorrect horses, and I get that too, and there's much more to talk about on the topic, but in a general sense, this is key to understand, and I think most people don't get it, to be honest with you. So now into this from Dan Moorhead, who is the founder of the oldest cryptocurrency hedge fund in the United States, founded in 2013. And he wrote this piece the other day titled, "Human Nature is Pro-Cyclical." And I'm not going to run through the whole thing, but he was basically explaining what's been going on in terms of crypto price action, especially of late. And he addresses the China quote unquote bans on Bitcoin, which, by the way, these quote unquote bans have been happening since like 2013, and he cites that in the article. He talks about the tax implications and why that's a major thing. So I do want to really focus on that. And then Elon Musk's 180. I don't want to talk about Elon so much in this video. I feel like I've covered it sufficiently. You guys probably know all about that to this point, so I'm going to try to avoid that as I go through this here. But it was funny seeing this. Here's a tweet from Dan Moorhead on May 26th. So this is after the most recent drop of Bitcoin in the whole crypto market when it got down to about $30,000 on, I think it was May 19th. And so he shared this graphic. Return since China bans disruptive tech. And so he's showing various technology that China has banned and how much it has increased in terms of percentage gains since that happened. Twitter's at the top of the list. June 2009, up 4,449%. Facebook, July 2009, up 14,199%. Google, March 2010, 732%. Snapchat, June 2013, it's up 11,449%. Now, Bitcoin, December 2013, from there, 3,870% up. Bitcoin, from September 2017, and I jumped in the space after that, but I remember people still talking about it because it was just a few months later when I jumped in. But September 2017, up 798%. And now it happened again May of 2021. And so we've yet to see how this all plays out, but I think you get the gist of it here. It doesn't matter. Just saying. But the taxes, now this is fascinating. You should be aware of this. Here's what Dan Morehead wrote about taxes. And I'd never seen it laid out like this before. So check this out. You'll like this. Tax day can be important on crypto prices. After the two previous big run-ups in 2013 and 2017, Bitcoin peaked 4 months before tax day and hit a low about a week before tax day. That makes some sense. A lot of crypto traders are new to investing. You can imagine a person buying as much Bitcoin as they can. Sometime later, they decide to swap it for Ether. And then, the next spring, their tax preparer tells them they owe 34% of the gains in taxes. Now, since they're all in on crypto, the only way to raise cash to pay their tax bill is to sell some crypto. Prices fall leading up to tax day. So there you go. Because the taxman cometh, it affects the global prices of Bitcoin and crypto. Now that's fascinating, especially given the decentralized nature of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in a general sense. It is fascinating, I must say, that this specifically occurring within the United States shows up on the charts. This is one country. And I don't know what percentage of the 300 plus million people that live in the United States. It's not that big a percentage of the roughly 7.8 billion people that live on the planet. Yet, still, the ramifications of this just absolutely reverberates throughout the world in terms of price action for the market. And so then he writes here, so if it's so obvious, why did you not see this? He's referencing, of course, the most recent negative price action. And he wrote the following: we thought we did. We were very conscious of this pattern as we came into 2021. In late February, we took off 20% of our risk. The market quickly fell 25%. We thought that was it. Put our risk back on. And then he writes in parentheses here, that risk management has helped us outperform this year. And so, look, that move clearly for them, he's stating that still was a good move. It just wasn't the ultimate drop that we were thinking. Then he writes, in mountain climbing, there's a term false peak. Some mountains have two peaks. From certain vantage points, the lower one can look higher. The New York Times recently did an article on how many of the famous climbs in history did not actually get to the highest point of the mountain. In hindsight, February was a false peak. When the China Elon earthquake hit, the markets fell again. So, are we now at a low? Well, having missed the second high, not sure that it's worth sharing thoughts on the next question, but here it goes. My view is yes. Previous tax day cycles have hit local lows 7 days before tax day. That makes tremendous sense. That's about how long it takes to get your money out of an exchange and to your bank. The Bitcoin market hit a local low near $30,000 2 days after the tax day. And then he writes in parentheses, the U.S. government pushed tax day to May this year, in parentheses. So only 9 days only 9 days off the historical average and within the period that makes intuitive sense. And then he goes on to talk about there's been an 11-year trend of this. And so I don't want to read the whole thing, but I found that substantially interesting, actually. And so Dan Morehead, I've been following him for a while. I talk about him from time to time on the channel. He's not always in the news, but he's a data guy. And I love data. I don't operate based on emotions. I like to operate based on logic and data. He's a data guy. And so he just looks at what the charts tell him, and then he does his best, and nothing's going to be perfect, because everything's always going to be a little messy, no matter how talented you are, how much data you are aware of. But he's just a wealth of knowledge, and he kind of gets the big picture of crypto. And he has cited also XRP as one of the cryptocurrencies that's going to make sense long-term to hold. He's also one of these guys that thinks that utility matters and will win the day, which is what I always say. He says, fast forward 10 years, you're probably going to have like 8 cryptocurrencies. I believe he said something like that. And he thinks that XRP specifically can be one of them because it functionally does stuff. So at some point, whether it's 10 years or less or more than that, at some point utility is going to matter substantially more than it does today, and money will flow where there is actual utility and where problems are being solved here. And so I just want to highlight also, he's pro all sorts of cryptos, including XRP. He has specifically talked about it, which I've covered on the channel in the past. And so there we are. Interesting stuff, isn't it? So that's why I look at. There's a reason I love talking about this topic when I make videos about price, because it makes it easier to hold, don't you think? Just being aware of the human psychology behind all this, just having this data, don't you think it makes it easier to hold without being fearful? Because look, I'm not telling you to buy or sell or hold. You make your own decision. I'm just saying remove your emotion from it. I don't think it's good to make important life decisions based on emotion, especially when you're talking about money here. And I just find it endlessly interesting the way that humans behave, despite all of this information that I'm sharing with you, that I continue to share with you, and I have for years now, all publicly available information about how people have behaved within the stock market for over 100 years, how people have behaved within the crypto market for about 12 years. And it doesn't matter how publicly available this information is. Most people aren't going to even think to look for it. And then if they do, and they're aware of it, are they going to believe it? And then even if they take it, that information, and they believe it, are they going to have the emotional wherewithal to do something about it? And so there's a lot of hurdles there. And so even though it's right there and now you are aware of a bit more of it, if you didn't know it before listening to this video, like there's so many people, it's not gonna matter. But there are certain people out there, and I'm one of them, that just when I have the data, if I have strong conviction and I believe something, I can control the emotions. I don't get hit with scary feels when the price of Bitcoin or XRP goes down. It's just not a big deal to me. And this is another piece of the puzzle. Like, if you've been listening to me for some time, like, this is just another reason for me to not feel fearful. The crypto asset class is not going away. It's going to continue trending upwards, I firmly believe. And XRP, look, I don't know when utility is going to sufficiently matter, but it will at some point in the future. I'm absolutely convinced of that. And when that happens, XRP is useful. So why would I be fearful? Like, even when markets tank because there's volatility for a number of reasons, that just doesn't scare me. It just isn't going to. It's not going away. People, if there's true value in something, even if the price goes down, that's just a bunch of lemmings following one another off a cliff. That doesn't mean that there's not value all of a sudden. There's been so many price crashes just in the 3.5+ years I've been in crypto. It doesn't mean that the value of the crypto asset class on the whole went away. It was just people emotionally selling. It doesn't matter. And so every time this happens, I'm just like, okay, it's just another day that ends with the letter Y, and that's how I feel about it. So ultimately, I do believe Bitcoin's going to go up, and I do believe that XRP will follow. I believe from this point specifically, XRP is going to substantially outperform Bitcoin, and we'll see if I'm right about that suspicion. There's no way I can know for sure. I could be wrong about everything I believe. And sometimes people, even when they have strong conviction, time passes, you see how things unfold, and they can still be wrong. It doesn't mean you're right just because you have conviction. But I'll tell you what, with me, the reason that I have conviction, it's not something that I've blindly acquired. It's based on data. And I think that I'd rather move forward in life when it comes to investing, making decisions based on data. And then if things are messy along the way, so be it. But I'd rather go that route than have conviction based on nothing or emotions. So there we go. But you let me know what you think in the comment section below. I miss you when you don't talk to me. I'm not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.